Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Erica. I hope you're having a good day. It is Saturday, July 6th. Yeah, I hope everyone had a good 4th of July because fuck the British. Anyways, I've got a couple of people in the chat today. As always, I'm going to go ahead and start out with our resident Canuckistani from the Soviet state of Canuckistan, Dale. Please say hello, Dale. And then we have a new resident from the state that doesn't exist. It's non-existent, which means he is too. Please say hello, Mike.
I am the greatest enigma of them all, and as a Jacobite, I fully support saying fuck the British.
And, of course, he's not the only enigma. There is another enigma in our server that has not joined tonight. I believe she may be doing other things. Maybe playing a game or working. I don't know. I think, however, Miss Keck has decided that she is simply just going to be here to watch and listen.
Just because I mute my mic doesn't mean I'm
Okay, well, and then of course we have the goth mommy herself, Miss Keck. Please say hello, Miss Keck. And not only are you being streamed on YouTube, but this is also being streamed on the channel Twitter account. Oh shit! The music has been playing that entire time.
I do take back the comment I made about X giving off definite bottom energy, because I'm sitting here and I'm like, ooh.
Okay.
I
Anyways,
hate it here already.
Well, I mean,
boo-boo.
he's followed you over, so there's nothing you can really do about it.
This stream sucks.
Yeah, we only say that. We only say that when the show ends.
The stream sucks. You're all gay and cringe.
Yes, we're all gay and cringe. Okay, so
gay, I turned straight.
Except for me, I'm not gay and cringe. I am the best thing that has ever happened to you.
Allegedly.
I'll shut up now.
Okay, so we've got 3 topics on the board today. The first one is politics in uniform. Kind of a reminder to people around the country and around the world. Don't be asking soldiers or military service members of the U.S. about politics while they're in uniform, because they can't talk about it.
Which is gay and cringe.
Which is gay and cringe.
Which is, in my most humble opinion, I still think that you should have the right to speak whatever views you have on whatever topic, not just politics, but like anything under the sun, regardless of whatever it is that you're doing in life, whether you're in the military or not. That's probably a hot take, but I'm hot, so
it's a pretty based take, to be honest.
You generally do.
I know I am.
You generally do have all of the exact same rights in the military that you do out of the military, just not in uniform.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
That's why it's called the Uniform Code of Justice.
Uniform Code of Military Justice.
Yes.
I always thought that if you're in the military, that's it. You're in the military. You are. Yes, Kitty, shut the fuck up. you're in the military, that's it. It doesn't matter if you're in uniform or not. It doesn't matter what you're doing. If you are currently serving in the military, doesn't matter what branch, then you don't have the same rights as a civilian.
Interesting fact about rights in the military and rights in the civilian world. The right against self-incrimination, so the Fifth Amendment, the right to remain silent, that was actually codified in the UCMJ long before the Fifth Amendment existed. But the reason this all came up is because a video went viral again this past week, 2 days before the 4th of July. And I'm gonna pull this up for all of the YouTubers, all the people watching. Pause that and get it up on screen. Okay, so this post is from Keith Woods. It says, viral video shows man confronting American soldiers stationed in Poland. What is America's #1 export? Is it George Floyd culture or sodomy? What are your thoughts on this? So I'll go ahead and yes. I'll go ahead and play the video.
You guys Americans?
I've seen this.
You guys Americans? Are you guys here to spread sodomy or what? Isn't that what America's #1 export is? What is it? Is it George Floyd culture or is it sodomy?
Yes, sir.
What do you guys think about your health secretary being a fucking tranny? Hey guys. What do you guys think about your health secretary being a tranny? Nothing?
And you see how they're just ignoring him?
Mm-hmm.
They're ignoring him because they cannot comment on it. They are in uniform. It is a violation of the UCMJ to comment on political shit while in uniform.
And to people who don't know any better, who just don't know that they cannot comment, like it makes us look bad to people who are just ignorant to that rule.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So
Well,
it's
and there's
like
also another.
it's a catch-22, if you will.
Yes, it is.
Well,
But
and another part of it as well is the lack of just overall statements. Like a lot of people, they have this idea that the military is like this apolitical, neutral entity, and the problem is it's not at all.
no, it's not.
It's not neutral. It's not apolitical.
Nope.
And one of the big things is that the military command's failure to get out in front of certain things has led to this idea that, you know, you can kind of badger them and just get away with it. And it's like, well, yeah, because the command is shit and doesn't know how to get ahead of things, especially, you know, again, I read earlier before in the pre-show, I mentioned the stuff that happened in Okinawa, for example, which has been an ongoing issue for many, many decades.
Yeah, that's nothing new. Ever since we established a base in Japan, especially the Marines established a base in Japan separate from the Navy, this has been an issue.
What specifically has been an issue since they established that base?
Military
Can I use
personnel, military personnel, especially young military personnel, do stupid shit and get in trouble, and then it looks bad on all of us.
All right.
So
if I
back,
may use colorful language, they
Yeah.
do the unspeakable touchy touch in the no square, and it tends to end very badly.
Nice reference, by the way.
no, don't touch me there. This is my
This
no
is my
square.
no square.
Surely that will prevent those people, those migrants, from doing that. Clearly,
But
Well,
they
no,
just
you don't
know they're
understand.
not
It's a part of
supposed
their
to.
culture.
Yeah,
it
which
it
is
was
perfectly valid, and there nothing you can no
It's like
criticism for their
so
culture.
brave.
All cultures are equal.
it
Oh
it
yeah,
it,
all
it
cultures
was
are
it was
equal, bestie.
it
Yeah.
was worst.
Except for white culture, which is less equal than others.
Like whites are so annoying.
Yeah, they can't dance. Their food is bland. But otherwise, all
They
Listen,
don't
cultures.
season
motherfucker,
they
my food is
chicken.
not bland.
Shit. They don't season they chicken. They fuck their cousins.
And worst, and probably worst of all, they're like last place when it comes to amount of violent crimes committed. Terrible.
I know, how boring.
Yeah. How lame.
I know.
Okay.
It's so
Anyways,
not the vibe.
of course, you know, we've got everyone talking about, you know, you can't these guys can't comment on political stuff in a public setting. This is harassment. And everyone's just fucking arguing. This isn't worth it. Stop trying to fucking corner military personnel. They're not going to comment. The only ones that get to comment on political shit while in uniform are the ones that the UCMJ doesn't fucking apply to.
Who is that?
The generals.
Like that fat ass Millie?
Yes.
Basically, if it doesn't have an eagle or a star on its collar, it ain't commenting on shit.
Not even full bird colonels get to comment.
But once you get to general, the code of justice just no longer applies to you?
No, because you're the one that gets to basically say fuck this.
So does that mean there's no real way to punish a general through the military
Oh,
court system?
there is. There actually is. It's called a courts martial. A court martial, or in extreme cases, Congress can get involved.
Congressional review.
Yeah. Who is it in the military who like initiates a court martial? Couldn't like since the generals are at the top, couldn't they just like quash any
No,
like
it's your convening authority. So while generals are the highest in the uniformed military, the president can convene a court martial. Congress can convene a court martial, or Congress can have a congressional review over someone's actions.
right? So, but to court martial a general, then would it have to be either Congress or the president, or is there anyone in the uniformed military who could court martial?
So I would like to comment on that. There is a special circumstance. You have the military police, and in special circumstances, generally it's military police, but in like battlefield conditions, there can be exceptions to that rule. But they can, in extreme circumstances, like say a general fucking hit and runs, and they know it was him that did it. They can show up to his house and arrest him, and he can be put in front of a tribunal for killing somebody.
Yeah, or in certain cases, there are, say, 1-star generals, 2-star generals, 3 stars and up. You've got brigadier, major, lieutenant, and then just 4-star general. And say a division general, so the general in charge of 2nd Marine Division, says something stupid, gets hemmed up by the command, the commandant of the Marine Corps can convene a court martial against him.
Interesting.
Now, to also reference what I just said about battlefield conditions, there are extreme circumstances with, like, say, for example, the conduct of a general is completely unbecoming and things have just gone completely off kilter. Say a general orders his unit to, say, blow a village completely off the map. Things can escalate right there in the field, and a lesser officer can relieve him of command pending review because of the fact that it's like, dude, you're literally telling us to murder civilians. Like, that can happen. Again, extreme circumstance.
I see. And just while we're on these questions of the military, at what rank are you no longer subjected to I'm to physical fitness tests? Because I'm pretty sure any military fitness test, I'm pretty sure Mark Milley could not pass one.
Yeah,
So-
generally, you're supposed to be subjected to it, regardless of rank. You're supposed to qualify every year, at least once a year. But I'm telling you right now, I have seen some of the fattest men I have ever seen run 22-minute 3 miles. We're talking guys with guts larger than mine.
Is 22-minute 3 mile a good? Is
that is pretty stinking fast. I haven't been able to run that fast since I was 20 years old.
Yeah, to put that into context, at 220 pounds back in high school, my cross country 3 mile maxed out at 20 and 40s. It's a change. Like, it's pretty good across the board if you can get around the 20 to 22 minute.
A perfect score on a 3 mile run in the Marine Corps is 18 minutes. And I have only seen one sergeant major ever complete a 3 mile in less than 18 minutes.
Was this person exceptionally fit?
Oh, he was exceptionally fit, even when he was going through cancer. His name is Sergeant Major Octavio Gallegos. He immigrated to the U.S. as a child, and that man was one of the greatest leaders I have ever known.
So he's not only fit physically, he's also, like, not a piece of shit. Like,
yeah, he would legitimately sit down with privates and shoot the shit with them. He'd leave the rank at the door.
It was good to know that still some people out like that out there.
Sounds like Sergeant Major Anger when you would run into that mofo at the bar randomly. Multiple of my classmates, former JROTC guys, Sergeant Major Anger was our Sergeant Major, and like for several years after high school, we go out to the bars in Akron and we would run into the man, and it was the most hilarious shit ever.
So the same guy that cornered the U.S. soldiers in that Poland mall also had another video the same day go viral, and he's confronting a white woman and her partner in what looks to be a hardware store, telling the white woman that she is partnered with the world's most invasive species and that he is a biological weapon in the country.
Are you not ashamed of yourself? You're with the world's most invasive species. You're the world's most irresponsible breeders. You're in the whitest country possible.
What do you mean everything?
Yes. You're a biological weapon in this country. Hey, Pajit, you're a biological weapon in this country. And you should be ashamed of yourself. You're a white woman.
I'm just saying this guy gives off male Karen vibes.
Yeah.
So,
is it actually the same guy though, or is it just the same account posting?
It's the same. It's the same guy.
yeah, that's the same voice. My take on that right there. First and foremost, like one of my my thumbnail guy, and he's working on channel icons. He's done my channel banner and my channel logo and a few other things for me. He's from India, and I've sat down and talked with him plenty, and what he has to say about India is across the board. He's like, we've been plagued by shit leadership for decades.
Yep.
And the only reason why people can even talk shit about us is because of the fact our leadership has been so corrupt and so mismanaged that, you know, things have just kind of continued to be stagnant, even though, like, India, and I hate when people use those kind of words to describe people, because it's like, oh, if he's shitting in the street, call him a little shitter and fucking berate him because he's shitting in the street. But if he's just fucking standing there with his fucking girl, you know, get a fucking grip, you fucking monkey. Because that's what you seem. That's what the dude seems like. He seems like a goddamn fucking one of those little monkeys with the fucking cymbals, fucking jumping around to the music box. This is what he fucking seems like.
He seems just like a shit disturber to me personally. That's what he's doing. He's just going there shit disturbing.
If he's just going around harassing people, then he needs to get his shit knocked.
Yeah.
I would generally agree.
On this one.
No, seriously, like you said, if he's a male Karen, and we're right about that, then he just needs to get his shit knocked.
Yeah.
Some people just need that in their lives. They need to get their ass beat, and like, I don't know, they just need a wake up call.
I've been throttled when I was a Karen, so shit happens.
Yeah.
You were a Karen?
I've had my Karen moments when I was younger.
Oh.
Did you ask to speak to any store managers?
Yes.
You wanna share that with the class?
Oh no.
So
you were a little shit starter back in the day?
When I was 20 and just on my way to boot camp, they let us take $20 in our wallets, and I was hungry, and I was the fucking oldest person in the group heading to boot camp, so I had everyone's tickets, and I felt like I had the power. So we get stuck at the airport in Houston on our way to San Diego, and I'm fucking hungry. I go to McDonald's, I order a quarter pounder meal, and generally I order that plain. But it didn't come plain. Shut it, woman.
So you complained because it didn't come plain.
I complained because it didn't come plain but it didn't come plain because I didn't order it plain.
So you were a dumb bitch. Got it.
I was a dumb bitch, and yeah, shit happened.
So, like, how did you act when your order didn't come out how you wanted?
I threw a fucking fit, and I'm like, do you know what the fuck we are doing here? We are going to boot camp, and you think that it's okay to serve me this shit?
Do you know who I am? I'm in the fucking military. Give me my damn... Going flop. Oh my god. Please.
it would've-
I'm gonna be waking up at like 5 in the morning to be doing like push-ups and shit. Like, damn it, bitch. I want my fucking fast food that's gonna be going to my arteries and slowing down my
Good
lipid.
lord.
I just want to have this one thing, but you can't even do it right.
It would have only been better if it wasn't a McDonald's but a Wendy's.
Oh god.
Sir, this is a Wendy's parking lot.
I don't think that meme
Or should I say
existed back
ma'am?
then.
Is it ma'am? It's ma'am.
I think it's man. This is Wendy's.
God damn it.
I do
Well,
not
maybe
think
at the
that
time it was sir. I don't know.
it was sir back then.
Okay, so sir, this is a Wendy's parking lot.
Oh my lord.
But again,
That was brilliant.
I don't think that meme existed back then.
The ramblings of a trans woman.
Shit happens.
I'll shut up.
Okay, so of course we have more than just talking about shitty Polish. At least it's not shitty walk.
Don't talk about the Polish. I
I'll
love
be,
the
I'll
Polish.
be AFK for a few moments.
Yeah, but
Hey,
the Polish
you-
are kind of based.
You've
Kind
you
Kind
you
of?
Yeah.
You mean very?
Nah, not very. Just kind of.
you saw how I responded to the one Polish dude in your Discord.
Oh yeah, my boyfriend.
Oh,
That
that's
is
your
my
boyfriend.
That is my boyfriend. You better watch your mouth. He
I
said
t-
he wanted no pickles on his burger.
I mean, I told him to do something useful and get invaded.
Whoa. Yeah, I saw that. I found that funny. He is grown. He can handle himself. And if he ever has a
I know.
problem and comes bitching to me, then I'll put him in his place. And if he's watching this, I love you.
Yay.
You're adorable.
Generally, we both agreed that we were both just fucking around.
Oh yeah, I know. I saw.
Let's see. Okay, so besides the Polish acting Polish,
Which is awesome.
we have, of course, a little Blaire White fiasco.
Well, at least for once, it's not about her trigger discipline.
Yeah, well,
Oh, she has shit trigger discipline? I didn't know that.
horrible trigger discipline. And I've ranted
Fun.
about it so many times on this show, it's not even funny.
Fun.
So there is a server member in this Discord server that goes by the name of Laura, who a few years ago was homeless and had just started doing DoorDash in order to try to get her life together. Now, she is trans. She transitioned. She detransitioned. And then she transitioned again.
So is
And-
this a trans woman or trans man?
It's a trans woman, born
She's
born
a
by
de-re-trans-
she is she was born biologically male. She transitioned. She detransitioned back to her biological male, and then she has since retransitioned. In the throes of being homeless and trying to get her life together, doing DoorDash, she made a very, very dumb decision. She ranted about getting misgendered by an employee at Popeyes. That was 3 years ago. Now, a little over a year ago, me and her and several other trans people were in a group chat together, and that included Buck Angel and Blaire White. We were
Wow.
all in the same group chat. And Laura posted that video telling everyone, I am so glad I'm not like this anymore. So this video that I'm talking about right now, Blaire just decided to start responding to about 3 days ago.
To like intentionally like fuck with me.
So that's not real, right? It can't be. This is clearly an advertisement for reopening the mental wards. Reopen the mental wards. Surely this
Can you
poltergeist.
pause for a second?
Yeah, go
But
ahead.
there's nothing on your screen.
Oh,
the screen
shit.
is currently black.
I am so sorry.
No worries.
Yeah, I can only see the last video where the man was harassing that couple.
There we go. Let's go ahead and go back.
Be like calling trans women sir. To like intentionally like fuck with me.
So that's not real, right? It can't be. This is
still can't
clearly
see the
an
video. What the hell?
I can see it.
I can't. I don't know what's going on my end.
You may have to close out of the call and jump back in.
Oh,
yeah,
fun.
Discord kind of sucks.
Discord gay.
Agreed.
Now,
Welcome
can you
back.
see it?
Oh, we are so back.
Okay.
Excellent.
Okay, I'm good.
So this video that Blaire's talking about is 3 years old, and she knows for a fact that Laura isn't like this anymore. Like, why does Blaire feel the need to dredge up bullshit that is not relevant, especially in Laura's case anymore?
Quick question. Are we pro Blaire or anti Blaire within this server?
I am all Blaire on her bullshit.
Probably 63% pro and 40 or 37% anti-Blaire. Like,
Yeah,
for
Blaire-
example,
I just
why
think
is she wearing that hat?
You didn't know? She was in a music video recently. I think she's playing
Yeah.
off the whole like sheriff thing because she was in a music video with Ronnie Radke
Mhm.
for one of their
It
latest
makes-
songs where she played a sheriff, and I think she's playing off of that now.
Yeah, but it makes her look ridiculous.
I
Like,
think she looks
it
cute.
doesn't. She looks
Her
cute
bodice
without.
is poorly fitted.
Yeah.
I like the choker.
Mm.
I like the choker too. The bodice is poorly fitted. I mean that zipper should
I
not
like the
be going up
corset
that
top
high.
too.
The zipper should not be going up that high. I hear cats.
Yes.
I have a
But-
cat who likes to sing all of her grievances.
Mm.
But generally, when it comes to Blaire, I don't care. You know, she's one of the people that finally got me to come out. I mean, it was unheard of at the time. You know, where someone like me would come out, and so.
I mean, Blaire is the reason why I am accepting of trans people. Like, she is the first trans person that I ever saw that was actually normal
Yeah.
and
But-
sane and actually made you guys look like normal, everyday people who just so happen to have a mental disorder, and that's fine.
Yes.
Yeah. Which, like.
Because before that, I felt like y'all were fucking insane, and I was scared shitless of you.
That's why I wouldn't transition at the time, is because I thought that's how I'd be perceived.
Yeah. It's like the people who hate Blaire White, the activists who hate Blaire really do themselves a disservice because the like probably 99% of the right wing acceptance of transgender people is because of her, right?
Mm-hmm.
As to what you were saying before, I'm not sure if it was her exactly, but for a while I was under the impression that all transgender people were just insane communists, and because that's all that's all you'd ever see, because the activists are insane deranged communist pedophiles.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that was my impression. Oh, that's just what that is. And
I
yeah,
think the
and
activists. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
I think the activists are angry with Blaire because she's pretty. She passes. Like, if you didn't know she was trans, you would think that she's just a biological woman. She dresses well. She's not a degenerate. She's not a sex worker.
yeah,
Hey,
well,
she doesn't promote communism or pedophilia or any
yeah,
other degenerate ass shit. She's well spoken. Um,
yes,
and she's popular. She
yes,
is a lot bigger than these other motherfuckers who are trans activists.
yeah,
And they're mad that she's doing it
yes.
all right and that people actually like her.
I'd say
They're mad that she's right. Let's be
yeah,
real.
they're mad that she's not a degenerate communist freak like they are, and because she's pulling, you know, she's
And she's
pulling in
hot.
the other she's pulling in the other direction of their communist pedophile utopia that they wish to create, and you can't have that. So
They're mad
therefore
that
she's
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 hot.
she's excommunicated from their weird cult.
Mm-hmm.
And I will agree that even though it's a confused boner, I do find Blaire White hot.
She is I don't think anyone can honestly say she's not. She is.
I know she's
Right?
not into women, but I would, respectfully.
Yeah,
In the nicest way possible, I would.
yeah.
Give me
You
the
don't you
opportunity,
don't
and I would do
spend
some naughty things with Blair as well.
you don't spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on plastic surgery generally and not look good.
To
Oh, I
to
forgot
be
to
to be
mention.
fair, whoever did them tiggle bitties did a fantastic job.
And also, not to mention,
Yeah.
she's against bottom surgery, and that's a very unpopular opinion amongst
Is
trans
she
people.
is she against it, or is it because is it just she
She's
personally
strongly
doesn't
against
want to
it,
do it?
and she personally is never going to get bottom surgery.
Is she against it on some sort of moral ground, or is it just because it's
It's a health.
large
It's a
chance
health.
of right?
It's
It's just
a
because
hazard to your
yeah,
life. I mean,
Yeah,
right. It
it's
doesn't.
a huge health issue.
Yeah, so she's not against
I'm
it on
even
any
against bottom surgery.
yeah, but what I mean, so she's not against it on any sort of moral ground. It's just because of the complications and the risks. She's
Yes.
against it. Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
and that's
Makes sense.
actually I believe it was the founder of crap, was it LGB Alliance or Gays Against Groomers? I don't remember which, but one of the main founders of that is is trans and is female to male. I think
That
That's
wouldn't
an
be
even more
Gays Against
dangerous
Groomers
scenario.
because the founder of Gays Against Groomers is a lesbian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And something else too. Y'all have just managed to make Z put my girlfriend in a slump because every time she sees a quote unquote pretty trans woman, it puts her in a bad mindset.
Yeah,
Why?
we're working on that with Z.
Story Z.
Oh my.
but yeah, I again I don't remember. Matt Walsh interviewed the trans person in question as part of What is a Woman,
Oh yeah,
and
that was the guy who said he was dying or something.
well, there's been massive health complications as
Yeah.
a result of the bottom surgery
Right.
that has resulted, and then the scar tissue on the arm from the whatever that part of the surgery is called. That scar tissue has started atrophying the arm to the point where the arm is becoming non-functional.
Damn. Yeah, that's a fucked up surgery.
See, in my opinion, I think that, you know, if we lived in a very normal world that was based around the truth and logic, I know, crazy,
Okay.
crazy to wish for, right?
Yeah.
But in my mind, like trans women, for example, should just be seen as women who just so happen to have been born male and just so happen to have that between their legs. And
A
that's
dick.
it. Same with trans men. Like they should just be considered men that were born female and just so happen to have you know what between their legs.
A vagina.
No big deal. Why should we make a big deal over that? We should not be making trans people feel bad for having the biological parts that they were born with because there's nothing wrong with that.
So I actually think that's a great segue into Ava, honestly.
Who?
Yeah, it
Ava?
is Ava.
Okay.
You mean Ava?
I'm
no
gonna pull
one's
this up.
turning into Tang here. It's not Ava.
Who is Ava?
Ava Kris Tyson, formerly Kris Tyson.
Mr.
Oh.
Beast's friend that transitioned.
Oh, okay. I know who you're talking about. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't know that's the name he chose.
Yes, she chose Ava, and she does look amazing. Let's see if I can
opinions
find
on
it.
that, but I'll let you talk.
I would just like to state I am definitely racist when it comes to chocolate, but when it comes to my females, I am
Same.
definitely not.
Okay, so there has been this constant beating of the drum saying that Ava abandoned her family to transition. First part of that is she didn't abandon her family to transition. Her and her wife split over a year before she started her transition. Second, she has been in her son's life the entire time. They have split custody. And her ex-wife has publicly come out and said that people need to just shut the fuck up and stop talking about her son because it has nothing to do with him. I will put that in the browser. So this is her ex-wife. This is Ava's ex-wife talking. It says, "Mine and Tucker's life are both better than ever. Tucker's life is kept relatively private as much as it can be, solely because of people like you who tried to make a headline topic with a 4-year-old's life blasted as a headline. There are plenty of other things in this world to talk about other than a 4-year-old who will one day see all of this. Imagine having to get introduced to the internet and having all of your life as a headline topic. All of his life bashed all over the internet. His life is kept private as much as possible and not so people like you can create a headline of a life and situation you know nothing about. So next time, please choose a different headline other than an innocent 4-year-old's life. Our lives are the best they've ever been, and Tucker is loved and cared for by both parents and in both homes and is thriving. I don't know who Nick is, and I don't care who he is, but as a parent himself, is this the example we want to set for our children? When we don't agree with someone, we bash them, their families, drag others' children through the trenches by spreading false information about their lives. Be better, set better example."
Who was this in response to?
Nick Merckx.
Huh.
So Nick Merckx popped off with the same old Ava or Chris abandoned his family blah, blah, blah. But Chris didn't abandon his family. Chris and his wife separated and divorced a year before he transitioned into Ava. It was not a transition, or it was not separating because of the transition. It was separating because they just don't fucking work together.
That last part I did not know. So they'd separated a year before.
Yeah. So ever since all that shit with Nick Merckx started, people with blue checks have been coming out saying these people defending Ava will simultaneously tell you naming him Chris is, or calling him Chris's dead naming, and Ava didn't abandon her family. Confused, it's intentional. They act like abandoning your fatherly duties doesn't make you a deadbeat dad because you're pretending to be mommy number 2. Listen, motherfucker. I didn't abandon my fatherly duties. The same lessons that I was going to teach my daughter, I've been teaching her since I started transitioning. The lessons don't fucking change. Just my outward appearance.
And it's also worth noting you're not a deadbeat dad if you get divorced. You're only a deadbeat dad if after getting divorced
You don't spend time with your kid and you don't.
You
Uh-huh.
stop contributing and helping them, or I assume if either you get a woman pregnant and then just abandon her, that makes you a deadbeat dad. If you're divorced and actively contributing to the child, you're not a deadbeat dad.
Yes.
Or deadbeat mom.
Or if even the parents are separated, divorced, broke up, whatever, and there's custody involved and you refuse to pay child support.
Yeah, that makes you a deadbeat dad.
That makes you a deadbeat. I don't care if you're male or female, it makes you a deadbeat mom or dad.
Yeah.
But you none of this applies here. Ava is paying child support. Ava has consistent custody of her son. I mean, you had something to say though, Keck.
Yeah, I told you that I had opinions on it. See, I didn't know anything about the divorce that happened a year before.
Aha.
I didn't know any of that stuff that you talked about, but like in my opinion, and this is probably gonna sound ignorant, but you know, I'm an outsider looking in. Okay, for the record, I don't have kids, right? But I do want kids. I think that if you end up coming out as trans, gay, bi, whatever, and you just so happen to have children, you need to think about those kids first before you like come out, because if you come out and it negatively affects your children, I find that very selfish, because I mean, I don't play around when it comes to the safety and well-being of children and animals. And this guy, let's be real, this dude had fucking responsibilities before he decided to come out. He has a kid, and I don't believe in like putting the kid in the spotlight, because you know that child deserves to have his privacy. But who knows how his dad's transitioning is going to affect him growing up.
Well,
So
I
would-
can't speak to how it affects a 4-year-old, but I can speak to how it affects an 11-year-old. Or at least my 11-year-old. She still calls me daddy. And nothing has really changed in our relationship other than when she's talking to her friends at school, she uses mom and dad interchangeably when referring to me. She still goes and brags about learning how to shoot guns She still
Based.
she still talks to her friends about all of the things that I've taught her, like ham radio, um, roller skating, rollerblading. You know, it it has not changed other than my outward appearance. If you're raising a kid in a healthy and happy environment, just because other people view you changing outwardly as wrong doesn't mean that the kid is. That's what we strive for, though, is a healthy and happy environment where the kid can learn and form their own opinions growing up.
All right.
So
I agree
my
wholeheartedly.
Sorry.
I said I agree wholeheartedly.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, you were going to say something.
yeah, my overall position on this, I my parents got divorced when I was 1 years old. And
Mm-hmm.
so I grew up in a custody situation. My
Mhm.
dad had primary custody of me. My mom had secondary custody. And so growing up, it was a stressor just by itself.
Yes.
And then the potential for other things to occur. Like, for example, the first 6, 8 years of my life, basically, my dad and my mom basically just would flat out talk shit about each other to me. And it
Yes.
was just a consistent rolling bullshit. In my opinion, the reason why this situation kind of I think negatively on this situation in general is based on my experiences, because I'm like, hey, I knew what it was like to grow up in a divorcee situation,
Mm-hmm.
and I know for a fact that those stressors, unless magically, completely and utterly fucking unicorn situation where these two don't even freaking talk about one another, they don't associate whatsoever, they like, basically it's like they don't exist other than when it comes to the context of the kid, there's going to be those stressors.
Yes.
And in the case of Broski going and announcing the transition and doing the transitioning and so on and so forth, my my appreciation of it comes from the fact that he started when the kid was little. In this case, it would have, it's been what,
About 2 years old.
about, yeah, it would have been about 2. And it's like, okay, at least you started this whole thing before the kid was basically within their conscious mind, because then at that point in
Right.
time, it's at least a less of a stressor.
Correct.
And that's my consideration when it comes to this whole situation. It's like, dude, you already have a stressful situation for the kid because of the divorce. This whole situation with you, we don't know what their private life is like. And this is why,
Sure.
like, these kind of takes, I'm like, okay, these kind of takes are just asinine, to say the least. But at the same time, I'm sitting here and I'm like, man, little dude, I hope you're good. Like, I just that's my consideration, is like, I hope for the little guy.
Generally speaking, I don't think that parents that aren't co-parenting well are going to write things like this. I think they would just generally stay silent. When it comes to parents not getting along, I know what that is because I do not get along with my ex-wife. We have zero contact with each other, but I have contact with her fiance. So he is our intermediary. And I have always held to the standard of I'm not going to talk about your mother in a bad way. I will always
Probably.
encourage you to learn from her because she's a very intelligent woman. We just don't fucking work together.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the correct approach.
I am also a child of divorce. The time in which my parents' divorce is kind of rocky. Okay, I'll say this. My dad is a malignant narcissist, right? I
Mhm.
learned that the hard way, growing
My
up.
mom's bipolar. so
Oh,
so I
sweet.
feel for
My
you.
mother is schizophrenic.
Ooh.
Fun. Ooh, we love the spicy mental illnesses, man. Um, mm, so I could get into this story another time, but I'll just briefly say that my dad abandoned us when I was 7 years old, and I think my sister was like 5 at the time.
I didn't know you
Um,
were black.
I know, right? Give me my black card, god damn it. Can I say the N-word now? Anyways,
Unfortunately.
he abandoned us for a year to go off and whore, like a whore that he is. And then eventually came crawling back because the chick that he was with, she was amazing, by the way. I have nothing negative to say about her. She caught on to her shit, and she was like, "Nuh-uh, you're not fucking around with me anymore, bitch." So he came crawling back to my mother like the sorry ass loser that he is. And they technically did not get remarried, so they ended up living together until he finally decided to abandon the house when I was 17 years old. That's another story. But yeah. When I going back to the whole transitioning thing, when I heard that story about Chris transitioning, all I could think about was my dad and his selfish endeavors
Mhm.
that he got into when he was younger. Um, and so, as a child that went through a divorce, and, I'm the eldest, I only have a little sister. So, I very vividly remember all the shit that my dad got up to when I was growing up. That's all I could think of was, my dad just being the selfish cunt that he is. He's still a selfish loser, by
let
the way, just so we
let
know.
let me paint another picture for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And I've talked about this very briefly in your server. Is the fact that I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness. These sorts of cults breed narcissism into its members, especially in the male.
Oh, I agree wholeheartedly, man.
And
I
so
too grew up in a cult.
so just because my parents have been married for 45 years doesn't mean that it's all sunshine and rainbows. For instance, I have known for pretty much all of my life that I should have been a woman. There has been something wrong with me ever since I can remember. And I wrote about it in a diary when I was 11. And the next day, I went to school. And my parents went through my room, found my diary. My father read it. And when I got home from school, he set me down on the couch with that diary page opened, sitting between him and my mom. He sat me down. He sat down, handed me a knife, and said, "You might as well just plunge it into my chest right now." That is a very traumatic thing to go through as an 11-year-old.
I am so sorry.
So, and my mother dug deeper and deeper into this religion until she she has recently confronted her abuse when she was a child. And I think my father has basically resigned to the fact that the religion is bullshit, but he needs some sort of community support, so he's only physically in it, and he is not mentally with the religion anymore.
Right.
And I think my mother is coming out of it, but I confronted them about this situation, and they have since apologized. It's just, why did you have to be such shit parents then?
Well,
Yeah.
and something that it kind of comes back to the situation with with Ava and all the bullshit with Mr. Beast and so on and so forth. As I said, the concern should be for the little dude, and
Yes.
people who are throwing shade, they need to leave him out of it. Like, if you honestly speaking, if people want to be like, hey, we don't fucking agree with you whatsoever, and kind of leave it at that, then at that point in time, it's down to a difference in opinion. It's a difference of perspective.
Yeah.
As soon as it's sensationalized and the little dude is brought into it, it's like, okay, now you're kind of just being a cockhead.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Now you want to go to war with me.
Yeah. And
I
just
I
one other point I wanted to make about this whole Chris Ava thing is,
mhm.
and I to levy some criticism on my side for this. It's been that whole concerted effort on the right to basically how do I to shame Mr. Beast into throwing his good friend under the bus because for their approval. And that is something that just frankly I find kind of disgusting. It's like it's his good friend. It's not like they do trans content or whatever.
No, they're
Um,
very
yeah, they're very
kid friendly.
apolitical.
They're
Yeah,
very safe,
they
edgy, I
don't
guess you could
they
say.
don't touch cultural issues, but just the the desire by these people to have him throw his friend under the bus for basically nothing, um, really disgusts me. It shows that
Well,
these are not loyal people we're dealing with. These are not people who have loyalty to anything but money. I'll just
Well,
say
it's
it.
a business. The whole Mr. Beast brand is a business.
Yeah,
What do you
no,
expect to come out of that?
no. I meant the people who are demanding that he throws his friend,
Oh, sorry.
who, to my understanding, has been with him from the beginning. Like they're actually good friends. Like
so
they are
this
so
actually,
they are showing themselves as very dishonorable, unloyal people to be demanding someone throws their good friend under the bus for their approval.
so having been around the YouTube sphere for a decent amount of time, I know a
Mhm.
few YouTubers personally, and talked to a couple of them just online, but I've kind of got a mixed bag. I ran a small YouTube channel when I was back in high school. I've kind of been in the space for a while now. 10 years basically. Never really did much, just kind of associated with people, so on and so forth. And
Right.
one of the things that you'll realize really quickly is that there is a very, very, very weird relationship that YouTubers of any kind can have with their audience. So, like in my case, I focused my first channel that I ever did. I focused very heavily on um, a particular game called Severium. Basically, think a team deathmatch shooter version of Stalker. Vostok Games was founded
Yeah.
by a few of the old Stalker devs. So that community was very small, very niche. Basically, I blew up very quickly. I think amassed around. I think I hit the point of being around like the 10,000 subscriber mark at
Not
one point
bad.
in time. You know, moderately, you know, moderate sized channel, especially back in that time period. You know, honestly, pretty decent for somebody who's just focusing on one topic.
Yeah.
And there was a situation, like for example, you know, I would have a take on a particular weapon, or I would have a take on a particular map, and you would have people come out of the woodwork and just immediately be like, "Oh no, you're fucking wrong. You're stupid. You yada yada yada." Um, like for one of the biggest controversies with the game was it was supposedly free to or pay to win because of the premium weapons that they sold for real money. And in reality, you know, if you looked at the balancing of the game, no, the premium weapons weren't actually that great because they couldn't have as many modifiers as weapons you could craft in game. And so what ended it started, you know, the whole controversy with that, the controversy with several of the newer maps that they introduced later in the alpha stages, and a few other things that, you know, you had this different draw of people being like, "Oh no, you're absolutely correct," or "Oh, fuck you, you're fucking retarded."
Mhm.
But then you look at the broader spectrum when you're talking about somebody like Mr. Beast, you know, he covers a wide spectrum. Like, you know, one of the most hilarious things is I suspect you guys might know who Brandon Herrera is.
Of course.
Um, you know, there it's really funny in Mr. Beast's community, he's known as the bridge guy. Like
Hmm.
there's a lot of people in Mr. Beast's community who have no idea who the fuck the guy is. They just refer to him as the bridge guy
Huh. Why?
because because Brandon Herrera, as he has demolitions training and is certified and all that. He's the
Mhm.
guy who ran the explosives and blew up a fucking bridge in one of Mr. Beast's video. Uh,
Nice.
and so there's a weird situation in Mr. Beast's community now where after Brandon Herrera ran for Congress, there is a segment of Mr. Beast's community who vehemently fucking hates Brandon.
Mhm.
But then there's the section that absolutely loves him.
Right.
And so you do have this weird dichotomy when it comes to Mr. Beast's channel specifically, but just in YouTube in general, where who you know, who you interact with, who you've spent time around, who you reference, it can set people off very fucking easily.
Yeah.
Yep.
And and on top of that, there are people like and as you know, Keck mentioned earlier, you know, there's narcissists out there that if you don't bend to their will immediately, they will fucking kill you,
Yeah.
whether figuratively or physically. You know,
Yeah.
my girlfriend, for example, she's great girl. Unfortunately, her ex is a pure, unadulterated narcissist, and thank God we finally handled that situation. Frankly speaking, I definitely wanted to do illegal things in Australia, but hey, yeah, I'm a good boy. I'm a good boy.
Yeah.
I'm a real
But the
boy.
point
Well,
is,
there's a lot of outback out there in Australia that's not explored, and
oh yeah,
no
oh
one
yeah.
ever goes.
But the point
When
is that narcissists are abound, and you know, if you're gonna run into you're gonna run into a few in real life. Imagine how many there are on YouTube.
Right.
And
when
then you go to Twitter. Twitter is literally like a nexus point for narcissism, almost
Yeah.
across the board. One of my favorite communities to reference, as you know, as I'm in the geopolitical sphere quite heavily, one of my favorite communities to reference as the greatest narcissists in the world are NAFO, uh,
Oh
also known as
yes.
the North Atlantic Fellows Organization.
Also known as retards.
Yes, absolutely. But you know, you will find them abound. It's actually, and now I actually would also like to mention this. For some fucking reason, there's a lot of chicks in NAFO too. It's
Right.
really fucking weird. Makes you think. Anyways,
Yeah.
point is, it's like, wait a minute. There's a lot of chicks here that are stumping for good old NATO, and there's a lot of dudes that get sucked into this for some reason. I wonder why. It might be the random titty pics that always get posted. But the point is that you're gonna find them on the net no matter what, and they think no matter what you owe them something simply because they are gratiating you with their time, which in reality most of these folks probably aren't even watching Mr. Beast. And
Yeah.
if they are, they're probably, well, in the I don't know what any new terms, like back when I was doing my first channel, um we would have referred to them as the uh as the um involved lurkers, you know, the guys that are, they're basically lurking, but they, you know, they'll comment every once in a while and kind of
Right.
be like, "Oh, you're an asshole," and it's like, I don't know who the fuck you are. You mean nothing to me.
Yeah.
So
no,
when
I
go ahead.
all right. So I think the point I was making was a bit mm, uh, you might have misunderstood a bit who I was referring to. I wasn't really referring to the either like the randos, the anon accounts, or like the just random assholes in the comments. I was more referring to kind of the whole let's just call them right wing commentariat, the pundits and shit, who have been just
Yeah. So guys like 9mm SMG on Twitter.
yeah. Or another one that we talk about a lot, say Matt Walsh.
Yeah, Matt Walsh.
Right. He's been on a he's been at it some of the longest, trying to, I don't know, shame Mr. Beast into throwing his friend under the bus, and
Matt Walsh is so fucking annoying.
it's just the most dishonorable behavior, and like
It's really
actual yeah, not throwing your friends under the bus is the right wing position on, loyalty is a right wing trait, and it seems some of these people don't have it. And quite frankly, I find it quite disgusting. It's dishonorable. Some might even call it Talmudic, but I won't go there. And well,
So
So-
when
it's
when
it's
when
Sorry,
when
go
it
ahead.
comes to Brandon Herrera,
Yeah.
we've talked about this on this channel before. I'm not a fan. I don't like him, but I'll leave him be. When it comes down to it, he had a Spaces on Twitter with 9mm SMG and Eric from Iraq Veteran 8888,
Mhm.
and 9mm and Brandon both misrepresented a SCOTUS ruling last year about a free speech case and tried to turn it into a freedom of association in business case.
All right.
So out of Colorado have come 3 separate cases where
The Masterpiece Cake Shop one.
yeah, so the Masterpiece Cake Shop was one of them. One of the one that came out last year was about creating custom websites.
All right.
And it was all centered around the Colorado state law forcing business owners to declare speech, like to actually profess things in the things that they make. Brandon and 9mm both basically said, oh, well, that means that we don't have to sell to trans people. We don't have to sell to people that we don't agree with. That's not at all what SCOTUS came down with. SCOTUS was very clear in this is a freedom of speech case. Selling a person a gun is not your speech. It is not your expression. There is nothing that you are professing when you sell someone a gun, so you cannot deny them that sale simply because you don't agree with their politics.
Well, I think there's a distinction to be made here. Political beliefs are not a protected class, so you could, in
No.
theory, deny someone a sale for their politics. You just can't deny them if they're a member of a protected class.
Which depends on the state that you're living in.
Correct. I mean,
Well-
I'm pretty sure you would be if someone came into your store with a, I don't know, a shirt with a swastika on it. I'm pretty sure you could deny them service. But if someone
Don't think
came in
9mm
and they're black,
SMG would do it.
agreed. But if someone came in and they're black, you can't deny them service. Now, personally, I think it's a stupid distinction, but it is what it is.
Well, so
Earl Warren had his way, and now, yeah, you cannot discriminate against some things, but not others.
I slightly disagree.
Sorry?
I slightly disagree. So, and here's another really hot take. I'm full of them. Everything I say is a hot take. So I
Because you're
believe
hot.
that. Huh?
Nothing.
What did you say? I'm sorry.
He said you're hot.
Thank
Damn
you.
it! You
I
had
know,
to-
bitch. Anyways, thank you for stroking my ego again. So here is another hot take of mine. See, I believe that when it comes to discrimination, you should be allowed to. If I own a business, I should have every right to allow whoever I want into my establishment.
Exactly.
If I so choose to not allow black people in, then okay, I should be allowed to do that. If I so choose to not allow gay people in, then okay. If I so choose to allow people that wear knockoff Juicy Couture, get the fuck out.
Your property.
You
should
ain't
be
that
able.
bitch. Get the fuck out. And
You
even
should be
with
able to do what you want.
even with corporate businesses like Walmart should be allowed to discriminate.
Exactly. It's still their business. Like, it's still their property. They should be allowed to do with it what they will.
But no, that gets a lot of people really pissed off.
The issue that I take, the issue that I take with 9mm and with Brandon is that they're misrepresenting the SCOTUS decisions.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with my belief system. It's the fact that they're pulling this bullshit saying that because of a freedom of speech case, that gives them freedom of association in business when it comes to the law. And it doesn't.
Yeah, I don't think they're necessarily misrepresenting it. I think they're misunderstanding it.
Yeah,
Misrepresenting
I would have to
implies
see the
they know
ruling.
better. Like I think they just I think they honestly believe that's what it means. I just don't think they believe correctly.
Well, also I would like to ask: was this were they reading off the majority opinion, or were they reading off a particular justice's opinion? Because
They probably are reading off a headline.
Yeah, they probably read it off a headline, but it was covered so in depth, especially in the 2A community, a community that they are a large part of, that it's really hard to miss the fact that it's a First Amendment speech case. You know, you cannot force someone to profess speech. And in fact, that case cited several cases that I have spoken about on this channel before, too. For instance, the Barnett versus the West Virginia State Board of Education, in which Jehovah's Witnesses got a prior decision overturned by nearly all of the exact same justices 5 years after the original decision, because the states were trying to force Jehovah's Witnesses kids into saying the Pledge of Allegiance.
So wait, Jehovah's Witnesses don't say the Pledge of Allegiance?
No, they do not.
Why?
Because they're a non-aligned entity, they don't swear allegiance to anything but the kingdom of God.
Huh.
Bingo.
I never knew that. Like, I know they don't celebrate things like Christmas or like birthdays and shit, but I didn't know like the pledge was against their faith.
I never stood for the national anthem as a student. I never said the Pledge of Allegiance as a student. And I, in fact, compelled my daughter to not do those things one day in school so that she could understand that the school cannot force her to say something that she doesn't want to say.
Well, I agree with not standing for the pledge or the national anthem if you so choose, but not because of Jehovah's Witnesses, because like,
So
I mean, you should have the right to choose that.
So I would just like to cover a few of the different points. In the case of, being able to discriminate in business and whatnot, I have having a lot of historical context behind that mentality. There is a good reason to allow it. One of the things that, within the firearms world specifically, and within security and a few of the things I've done personally, if somebody comes in smelling like weed or looking inebriated in any way, shape, or form, they present a potential safety hazard. If they, again, with the prior to here in Ohio, at least with the legalization of marijuana, you can come in and smell like weed, but you're not allowed to buy anything because, oh wait, the firearm sales are regulated federally. Weed's still illegal federally.
Doesn't that discriminate against Jamaicans?
Listen,
yeah,
motherfucker.
there's a lot of people that smoke weed religiously.
Hey, I'm just gonna let
it's
you know.
It's my religion,
the
okay?
The Jamaicans ain't buying guns from the gun store. I'm just saying.
I mean, there's native folks that use weed in their practices.
Well, there's natives that use peyote even in their.
I'll actually get into that in a little bit because that's a fun topic. But then with the case of, like, there is a good reason not to discriminate based on like skin color and a few other things like that. There's a good reason not to discriminate because of the fact that there is a lot of empirical evidence shown with the post Civil War era, with the post Civil Rights era.
Well, actually, could I ask? Are you saying it's a good idea not to do it, or it's a good idea to have it be illegal? Have it be illegal.
It is a very nuanced topic. It is one of those topics where it has to be. You literally have to boil it down to each specific circumstance.
Exactly. So what I think what Mike is trying to get at is you shouldn't just deny them because they're black. You shouldn't just deny them because they're trans. You shouldn't just deny them over, something that has absolutely nothing to do with who they are.
Right.
But more so, if you're going to deny them, it has to be because of some sort of behavioral marker that you've picked up on,
right?
And you don't feel comfortable selling to them.
Right. Yes. No, I perfectly agree that like one should do that. One should act in that way, but to mandate acting in that way violates the principle of freedom of association.
Yes and no, because
if someone, for example, mandated that you like, it would be absurd if someone tried to make it illegal for you not to let a black person in your house, which is your property. But you can't. But it's because they're black. But you, for some reason, have to let them in your business, which is also your property.
Yeah. the difference being private and pseudo public. So we've
they're
talked
both private.
we've
We own
we've
The
yes,
the, the
but we've
proper the
land.
proper the proper way to look at it is closed to the public, open to the public. If your
Right.
business is open to the public, then there's a lot of nuance that needs to go into it. But if it's
But
closed to the public, then it's a definitive. You can say no, fuck you, stay away from my shit.
I mean, it's open to the public in that sense, kind of like it's a made up term. Like, I mean, it's open to whoever you want it to be open to because it's yours.
Well,
Right?
and
If someone comes in and has a shirt a shirt color I don't like in my business, I can kick them out. So it's not just like, oh, it's open to the public.
that
It's only
when
specifically for certain protected.
Frenchie, just real quick, I would like to say that tells me that you might have spent some time in Detroit and dealt with Bloods and Crips a little too much.
I have
but
not.
no, he's a Kanakistani. He hasn't come down to the U.S. yet.
Actually,
okay.
I did go to
I know.
Orlando for. Oh yeah. But
I'm just giving you shit. I know you've been in the U.S. You just don't fucking live here.
Right.
Now,
Yes.
now the other thing to understand, and again, like as I said, it's a very nuanced situation to work with, and a very nuanced topic. You literally have to go point by point by point by point. It's kind of like, for example, if you look at Weimar Germany, there and look at 1950s Italy, and look at France prior or pre 1960s 1970s, there were a lot of places that, like, say for example, if you wore a particular hat or shirt or something that indicated you were part of a particular political movement like the fascists or the communists,
Mhm.
people would ban you from their stores because it's like, no, you're not welcome here. And that kind of stuff, like that right there, is a perfect example of something I would implore people to do. Because, like, for example, and I know a lot about Italy because of my family. My mom's side of the family, half of that family is from Italy directly. There was a lot of concern. My family fully migrated, or most of the family fully migrated out of Italy prior to World War II because of the communists trying to do their shit, and then the fascists came in and stomped the communists out for a short time. But the point is that there are situations where discriminating against groups of people, in the case of like politics or whatever, there is a good reason to do it. There is a 100% good reason to do it. But again, if if we're talking like racial things, race is probably the one, like, where it's like, no, dude, don't fucking do it. Like, it's absurd.
I agree. Don't do it. The thing I'm disagreeing is don't mandate it. Right. As a person, you shouldn't discriminate against them, but it shouldn't be made. You shouldn't violate the property rights of the people who own the businesses in such that they have to associate with someone they do not wish to associate with. If you don't have if you don't have the right of freedom of association, you basically don't have any other freedoms whatsoever.
In the context of U.S. law, no, businesses do not have freedom of association.
I agree that because of certain terrible laws passed in the 20th century, businesses no longer have the right. Like, I agree that's the law. I'm saying it's an immoral, evil law.
Again, as I said, it's a very nuanced topic across the board.
I don't think it actually is. You don't have the right to force me to do something on my own property.
Well, but here's the thing.
If you do not speak for me, you can't make me sell something to someone I don't want to sell it to.
There's a bit of a difference here, though. When you're in business, you are in business for profit. when you
could
are
be in business, you could be in business to support a cause instead of being for profit.
if you
There,
are
there
in
are co-ops out there that aren't.
okay, but in that sort of situation, you have a membership.
Right.
Co-ops are generally membership, ran, owned, supported.
Yes.
When it
I think
comes,
the key. I
go ahead.
apologize, but I think the key thing here is to understand the commons. It's really a case of if you're within the commons, like say for example, you know, my business, the business that I want to start, it's a munitions company. It mostly going to be retail online, and then in the case of like physical distribution, I will have a couple vehicles that we use for like events and whatnot. We go out to like say for example the Creator Range Day that they do down in Texas. We drive a truck down, have it set up for displays and stuff like that, and sell ammunition right there on the range, et cetera, et cetera. Um, in that case, that business is not part of the commons. It's not open to the public. It's not something that we're like, hey, you guys can come on in and buy stuff. It's, hey, we're manufacturing something here. Go online and buy there. But if you're talking like, you know, Starbucks, somewhere where you walk in, get a coffee, sit down, chill out, whatever, that's an intricate part of the commons. And now in the case of like the cake store thing, if there's a nuance to it, because if it's like a proper bakery, like, and I'm not talking like the little cafe bakery, the bougie fucking bullshit bakeries that people open up. I'm talking an actual baking company where they're putting out hundreds of pieces of bread and hundreds of fucking biscuits and other things like that over the course of a day, and they're shipping them out to different places. There's a difference there. The bougie little cafe bakeries are definitely part of the commons, whereas the proper bakery company, they're not part of the commons. You can't just walk in and be like, hey, I want to buy a loaf of bread. You have to go to one of the
Well,
stores that they sell to.
and
Right.
the
What exact? Go ahead.
the Masterpiece Cake Shop centered around a gay couple trying to get a
Yeah,
wedding
I'm
cake.
aware of the case. I'm
Yeah.
aware of the case.
It was a storefront, and the store owner had no problem selling them a cake. He just wouldn't decorate it the way they wanted to.
Well, and that right there, like that is that and him saying no, I'm not going to do that decoration. That's fine. Like if they
Yeah,
were able to purchase the product and they could just take it and go, then there's no problem there. There's
and
none whatsoever. And that's the nuance there, is that
that's where we move into freedom of speech and away from freedom of association, because he made it very clear he had no problem selling them a cake. He just wasn't going to profess speech on that cake.
well, and it's not even the professing speech part. It's you are like, for example, say I'm running a freaking bakery, and you're like, you see a cupcake and you're like, hey, I would want you to decorate the cupcake this way, and I'm like, well, sorry, we decorate our cupcakes the same way every single day, take it or leave it, bud. It's like
Yeah.
whatever. If it's like one of those times where the cake is literally one of the off the shelf ones, who knows. But the point is like, you can't make people like, and this is where the libertarian argument can really carry as well. If it's somebody, if it's made off the labor of someone else, it's not a human right.
Yes.
um and that's the point, is that right there, like that's the argument I'd make. It's like, no, like, if I don't want to do that work, I don't have to do that work. And that's all it comes down to. Like, there's no infringing on anything at that point in time. It's like, no, I just don't want to do it. I don't have to give you a reason. I just don't want to do it.
Yes.
Okay,
Then by
so
not doing it, you don't make money.
yeah,
And if you
that's kind of
choose
the
not to
thing.
make money, then
Well,
you're free to not make money.
yeah, 100%. And like one of the things that that me and my dad, the way we want to structure the company is we want to make as little overall profit as possible from the perspective of we want to eliminate as much tax as possible from the company. Like we
Yes.
literally want to run the barest of margins possible. So we're talking about, massive 401k contributions every year for every employee, massive fucking bonuses and so on and so forth, just to be able to be like, hey, yeah, we don't owe anything in taxes because fuck the government.
Oh, nice.
you know,
What sort of company is this?
it's a munitions company. We're starting with 9x19 and 5.56, and then moving into 308 as our third ammunition, and then we'll probably stay there for a couple years and then move into other stuff as we expand.
Well, that's hot.
Hey, I'm just saying, once we open the range, because we do plan on putting a range on the same property for people to come out and so we can do demonstrations and whatnot. Just saying, there's gonna be plenty of bullets to shoot. So
Based.
So this is just normal ADHD. As always, we get further and further away from the original topic. It happens.
Yep. It always happens.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's a hallmark of the show.
It is.
Oh,
So
may I state something really quick? I'm so sorry
go
to
ahead.
interrupt. For the sake of my digital footprint, because I know how people are on the fucking internet, I know there's gonna be 1 or 2 or 5 million motherfuckers who watch this and take my shit out of context. When I made my statement about, discrimination, if you so choose to discriminate a certain against a certain group of people, no, I'm not advocating for like racism or sexism or homophobia or any of that bullshit. No, I do not have black friends or any type of friend. I just have friends. So,
Yeah.
and I see people as not as groups, but as individuals. And also, if you don't like that, suck my dick, lick my boots. Okay, that's all.
Yeah. Exactly. It's not a race thing. It's a
that was
property
hot.
rights thing.
I know
Okay,
I am.
so-
I'm a cunt.
So on the topic of Ava and kids and divorce, there has actually recently been another trans person that has come into the spotlight. Her wife actually posted a short on YouTube, and it got circulated on Twitter and TikTok, where
what was
it
the gist of it?
well the gist of it was my wife came out as trans and we've got 3 kids. And they got a lot of hate for that video. But here's the amazing thing. They've been together for 17 years or 18 years now. I don't know which. But to Mike's whole thing about thinking about how it's going to affect your children, this trans person's story, they came out to their wife 3 years before they even started transitioning. And the only person that truly was holding them back from transitioning, it wasn't their kids, it wasn't their wife, it was them. It was the trans person holding themselves back because they were worried about the effects that it would have on their kids. And they realized after they transitioned, or after they started transitioning, that nothing has really changed at home. And in fact, things have gotten healthier at home. They talk more. Her and her wife talk more. They have stronger bonds with their kids. It's a very enlightening thing, and I think the biggest reason why they weren't transitioning when they came out to their wife was the fact that they had just left the Mormon church.
Wait. Okay, I'm sorry. I was responding to my girlfriend, and I kind of got lost in the sauce for a second. Okay, so wife,
How dare you have other
dude, wife
priorities besides
is having.
internet?
Yeah, I'm sorry that my girlfriend is a lot more fucking important than anything.
I'm messing with you, dude.
I know, I'm fucking with you too. But no, so tranny and wife have an out about it or something like that. Is that the thing you're referring
No,
to?
no. So they don't argue about it at all. And in fact, I think the only argument that they have really had is the fact that she didn't start transitioning until like 2 or 3 years after she came out to her wife. The only person holding her back from transitioning was herself.
Okay.
She realized after she started transitioning that she had a healthier relationship with her wife. She had stronger bonds with her kids. And I think their oldest child is about 11 or 12 years old now. Yeah, so they've been together for 18 years. They've been married for 18 years. And if anyone is at all interested in this couple and their story, Mormon Stories podcast did 2 episodes on them. Their names are Amanda and Shay Scott. Their YouTube channel is called Great Scots, just with their first names as the normal username, if you look it up. These are great people to follow and just observe. What is this?
Yeah, I'm just posting a couple things because like I think they'd be great little subtopics just to jump on.
Yeah.
Harry Smith. How
Uh,
okay.
the post isn't what I'm interested in. The image is what I was interested in there.
Okay, so
Yeah.
r/Kansas.
Crazy people.
And
Well,
I
it's
will
Reddit. It's Reddit. What do you expect?
I will put this up on the screen.
You know, most
Instantly read the
well-adjusted
first sentence and I'm like, that can't happen ever.
most mentally stable Redditor.
Okay,
I'm so
if
glad I deleted Reddit, man. My
Same here.
Reddit
I use it for
account.
titties. That's it.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Such a
so
cesspool, man.
I'll read this. If Trump wins, he could legally mandate that all registered Democrats be killed because of immunity. And you guys are okay with that? You're really going to take that chance? He wouldn't take it that far? I am so devastated how far
Swear.
Kansas... Jesus fucking Christ. I'm having a hard time getting through this.
Hey, do you want me to read it off? I'll read it off.
No, I'll get it. I'm so devastated how far Kansas has lost the plot on this one. You really think Trump will not use the power of immunity for pure evil? Biden could have him killed if he wanted right now, but he won't because Democrats aren't Nazis. This isn't a football team. Stop voting Republican unless you stand behind the possibility his rivals could be killed. Before it's too damn late, sincerely, 30-year-old hospice nurse.
Okay, quick question.
I
Since when were Democrats like not Nazis or fascists in any way, shape, or form?
Never. So let's get this straight. SCOTUS ruled that a president has absolute immunity when it
So
comes to
core presi- yeah, core
official
official acts.
acts. Core official acts,
And
which are
then it
defined in the Constitution.
yes. And then it only ruled that other non-core official acts are only presumptive immunity, meaning it can be like it can
It has to
be
be reviewed by
challenged in
Congress.
court. Be
Well,
challenged in court. So
yeah,
like
so it's absolute immunity for core constitutional defined acts
right.
and qualified immunity for non-core official
Oh,
acts,
right. So
which
is
means
presumptive
if
immunity the
it's
same as qualified immunity?
it's basically the exact same thing, because
I see.
what's going to happen is at some point a president is going to do something that is an official act but isn't described as a core responsibility in the Constitution, going to be brought up in a case, and SCOTUS is going to rule on whether or not it was legal. And if it was not, then any time a president takes the same act or something analogous to that act later on, they lose immunity because of it.
But it
That's
won't be with the first.
no, it won't be. It won't be with the first one, but every subsequent act is. Listen, it's not a war crime the first time.
All right.
Hey, at least you got that right. Well, and here's the thing, and this is what I think is ridiculous about this whole thing, across the board, is we look at situations like Weimar Germany. We look at the situations like 1950s Italy. We look at the situations like pre-1970s France. We look at all those situations, and everybody acknowledges that things went too fucking far across the board. You know, Weimar Germany was literally the impetus for the rise of the Nazis.
Yes.
1950s Italy gave rise to the Sicilian mob. Pre-1970s France, which the reason why I say pre-1970s France is because basically from World War I to the 70s, France was locked in this eternal internal battle with itself because of the whole, occupation, Vichy France, the communists, the fascists, etc., etc. All of these places we all acknowledged were struck by some of the worst imaginable shit.
Yeah.
In the case of the Trump immunity stuff and just immunity in general, mind you, everybody up to this point, it's only been the past 8 years that the immunity of the president has been challenged. And my position across the board, I would have loved if they had ruled that Trump didn't have immunity, because then George Bush, Obama, Clinton, all those motherfuckers go down. All those motherfuckers. I would have been laughing the entire time because every single one of them would have fucking burned. Freaking Hillary Clinton as Secretary of State would have burned. Everybody. They think it's bad because they literally, what the Democrats don't fucking realize, their supporters in this case, the Democrats themselves realize it. They're fucking wiping their brow like, woo, dodged a bullet on that one. The supporters of theirs don't realize, hey, we could have destroyed your entire political party because we would have started you would have had people in the streets calling for prosecution of, again, Obama, extrajudicial killings of American citizens, George Bush, the illegal invasion of Iraq and Afghanistan, Bill Clinton, the illegal acts in Serbia or Yugoslavia, as it should be called. You could go all the way back. You could just start cleaning house. The Republicans and Democrats wouldn't fucking exist as parties had SCOTUS done this. Now, the reason why SCOTUS ruled in favor of the immunity across the board is because it's the clear separations of powers. The SCOTUS, thank fucking God, Trump got Amy Coney Barrett and fucking Brett Kavanaugh on there because because honestly speaking, those two, they're moderates. They're not right wing. Everybody likes to try to scream that they're right wing fucking Nazis, but they are moderates who realize, like, oh crap, if we fucking go either way, we're gonna get shit on, but we need to go this way because if we go this way, the country literally burns. Because the actual right, the actual people who are going to pursue getting criminal charges against these fuckos, it's not gonna stop. And then all of a sudden the communists are gonna actually have to do something because then they're like, oh shit, all of our people are getting arrested. Fuck.
So last thought before we start closing this out. Simple fact of the matter is there is no immunity for a president that goes ahead and, you know, just blanket wipes out Democrats simply because we've already seen this. Abraham Lincoln did it with judges. Fucking who was it that
FDR.
created the FDR did it with the internment camps with the Japanese.
Wilson did the same. Well, didn't intern, but also did similar things.
Well,
You
actually,
can't
this is just to speak on FDR specifically. It's a little misnomer that people don't realize that the same actions that Abraham Lincoln did against the judicial and against the Congress and against other political factions within the country, FDR did the exact same stuff. He was just sneakier about it. He was targeting people using the IRS and stuff like that. He wasn't using the FBI to go after people. He was using the fucking IRS and shit like that.
Yep.
So he was being sneaky about it.
And Herbert Hoover was a fucking cross-dresser. Anyways,
Yeah.
Anyways, it is time for us to go ahead and close out. It is currently coming up on 7 o'clock Central Time, 8 o'clock Eastern.
Yep.
And so I'm going to go ahead and let me look at who is here. We're going to go ahead and first start with Miss Keck. Please say goodnight to everyone.
Good night, children. I hope you'll have the worst nightmares imaginable. Love you.
That is the goth mommy of the server. And then we will go ahead once again to our server member that doesn't exist because the state that he lives in doesn't exist. Mike, please say goodnight, Mike.
Good night, you sexy sons of bitches. And yes, everything will be Ohio eventually. Just wait, just wait.
No, you mean Florida.
Based.
You mean Florida. Everything will be Florida eventually.
Keck is a fellow Northeast Ohio enigma, so it's great.
But I'm in North Carolina now, so I'm in a real state of misery.
No, that's Missouri. And then, of course, we are going to go to our fantastic, dirty Frenchy Frenchman, our Soviet Kanakistani from the Soviet state of Kanakistan. Please say goodnight, Dale.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it has once again been a most fun, productive show, and I hope to see you all next time. Have a good
And that is the end. I hope everyone has a good night. We, as always, are going to finish off with the intro music. We will see you all next week.